Welcome Space Cadets to this tutorial series on Distant Worlds 2. My name is DasTactic. Welcome to the channel. Also a special thank you to Patreon supporters or anyone that sort of buys any merchandise or anything through the channel. That's certainly helpful. So thank you for that. Let's get into it. This episode we are going to be looking at what to do if you don't want to start with pre-warp. Like we did one on pre-warp starts. This one we're going to go to young level 1, and it sort of applies beyond this. It becomes more complex as you go beyond this one, but I would suggest that this is the start that I enjoy the most, because it at least gets you started in the game where things are going to be happening pretty quickly, and so this is actually a start that I do actually enjoy a lot. We'll keep the home system on normal, as I say, young and level 1 in through there, so we'll just go that side. You can technically go to starting, but then you don't know much about what's around you. So I do like to actually start with young, because you've explored things, you're ready to go. There's a few differences between the way that things start with tech level 1 and pre-warp. There's a fair few things, of course, but I'll show you one big one, which is the survey ships. They actually work very, very differently once you actually get to level 1. And I'll show you why as well. So we'll just go to this one, and get started. So when you do get these, always have a bit of a read through these. It does give you some information. Like, you know, we've got 2 colonies essentially in this particular start. They're both in the same location. This is our capital. Back and through here. Again, whenever it comes in, just wait for this and then click on pause straight away. I'm running at 4 times speed. I would suggest that you don't do that. And this is actually just from the end of the last episode, where I just wanted to sort of get through things quickly. I'll keep it on 4 times speed, but you do miss an awful lot. So just be aware of that. I would not advise it. It's just a way for us to sort of then move through the actual game. Now, a few things that we've changed in through here. The policy settings we had left on custom, where we had changed the 3 at the bottom through here. So they're now all on manual. That's the only thing we did different to, if we go back to default, the only thing we changed was to actually go click, click, click with our fleet formations, fleet postures, and fleet ship management. So that was actually one thing. I'll keep that like this. I prefer it that way. You don't have to worry about it, but now we're going to have to start to consider much more effectively our fleets and everything else that's going on as well. So we'll just go and click on that one, just to remove that policies at this point in time. Okay, the next thing we want to be looking at is we're going to have a fair bit of money coming in. We do actually have an established empire already. You can see we've got like a fair few ships floating in around here. We won't have any combat ships. If we go to the military, the default position for this one is military ships. We won't have any military ships whatsoever. And now the criteria for us is to establish a military presence. And so we're just going to go and do that one very, very soon. One thing we do when we start off at tech level 1 is we end up having, if we show the tech tree, we now end up with all of the first tech level and all of the second tech level. So this is tech level 0, this is tech level 1. And so we've now got all of those, but we don't have anything at all in the next tier along. And we're starting off by researching hyperdrive technology, which is fine. That's just going to be sort of the next thing that's going to be coming along. So it automatically sort of chooses that one for us. One thing we do want to start to get fairly early now is going to be the down the very bottom here, planetary governance. Now, it's going to cost me 2,000 credits to actually get this one. I think it might be 1,000 for these, 2,000 for this one. Actually, does it show? No, 500 for those. Sorry, I think in the last episode I was talking about 2,000, but planetary governance is 2,000 credits. I'm going to queue that one up because I do want that one fairly urgently. So I'm just going to go and pay the costs, and it cost me a bit of steel to then put that in the list. I can shuffle these around if I wanted to, but I'm happy enough with the order that we're doing that one. And so planetary governance is going to then stop corruption. It's going to give me more money. It's a good one for us to get fairly early if we can, particularly if we've got like a burgeoning empire with a number of different colonies. That'll be worthwhile. Other things we might want to consider is in the tech tree, if we have a bit of a look. I'm just trying to find generic things that we can sort of have a bit of a look at. Sometimes it's worthwhile having I'll come back to the actual ships that we've currently got. It can be worth going for destroyers if you're not getting what you need out of your other ships. That can be worthwhile, but if you can do it with your existing ships, then don't worry about those. Other things that will be considered would be things, for example, like oh god, there's actually not a lot that we really actually need in this sort of instance. Better weaponry potentially, but it doesn't. There's nothing we really must get at this point in time. We've got a good start, and you'll notice here as well when I hover over this one, it's going to take me 39 years to research this at this point in time. It will speed up over time, but it's an awfully long time. And to do the crash program, which we did when we did the pre-warp, is really out of our reach now. This is now 120,000 credits, which we're not going to have that for an awfully long period of time. And so it's really just a matter of letting that sort of go through. So let's not queue up anything else because it's just going to chew money away, money that we may need. So we'll just exit the research. Again, one thing we did last time was to sort of zoom back out, have a bit of a look around our system. One thing you'll notice now is we actually have research all over the place with these little 5s. These are yellow, which means that they're actually not fully researched. Anywhere where we see a yellow like this means that there's still more stuff to be discovered, like what we found in the last one. When we come back into here, we'll sort of find that we actually do, again, have lots and lots of ships are in around here. We don't actually have a star base at this particular location, but they're the two different colonies that we have, all in the same system in this instance. They can be in other systems as well, but this is actually all okay. Again, we've got a starport in through this side as well. Now, we will now have to deal with pirates. We're probably going to have mining stations in some of the locations. There should be a Caslon supply that'll be down in here. So we now have a mining station established, and so already we're going to be a target for pirates right from the very, very start. So we now need to get ready for that. There's another mining station across there. So we've got 36,000 to actually build ships. The thing, this will be a fairly short video, I think, because really once we've got that established, we can then sort of just go through and start to just let the game do what it wants to do. But I am going to push forward to go and get, actually we've just got the Prime Minister, we'll just let that one go. I'm going to push this one forward now just to pick up a fleet of ships. Now, I'm not going to get tricky with this one. I will when I do the video on fleet management. But initially, I'm not going to get tricky at all. I'm just going to manually build what I need. And there's two ways I can do it fairly easily. One is to basically go to either a planet like this one here. For example, if I go click on the planet and click on the construction, I can then build either a construction ship. We've got build the Perfectus, which is the escort. Now I can actually go and click on this one and see if other designs. We've got a patrol escort, we've got a heavy escort, and we also then should have a frigate there as well for 7,000. There's a troop transport which we won't worry about. What we want to do is now that we're actually at tech level, I'll just go back to the research tree. Now that when we first did pre-warp, we hardly had any of the tech level 0 techs. The pirates would have come in with basically tech level 1 techs at that point in time. We're now at tech level 1, which was about the same level that the pirates were. They're now going to come in with a lot of tech level 2 techs. So they're always going to be better than us, which means we have to outnumber them. And I'm not going to go through ship design. Let's not do that one in this particular episode. But I would generally design a ship to take on pirates as much as I possibly can. We don't have to do that one. We can just basically build what we feel like. One thing I'd suggest that you do is to exit the research, go across at least to your ship designs, and just go across to and see what they are. Click on roll. It will then sort all your escorts out together, put your frigate in through there. Click on it and just click on edit, and just have a bit of a look to see what it's actually got. Now it's going to be this little area down through here. And the main thing to look for here is to make sure that you do actually have shielding, that you've got armor. Now there is, I would be changing the design, but you don't need to. So in this instance, I'm not going to complicate matters by suggesting that you redesign things. Just have a bit of a look to see what this one's got. And so this one has got like rail guns, which are short range weapons. It's got concussion missiles. So I won't change any of this. I'm just going to I'm thinking, okay, look, I've got a concussion missile, which is long range. I've got short range stuff in through there as well. 2 engines on the ship itself. Yeah, that's okay. I'll just basically cancel that one. So that one's okay. We go and have a look back at, for example, the basic escort, the Perfectus. Have a quick look at this one through this side. A small railgun at the front, a medium railgun at the front there with the point defense. one shield, one armour. It's got countermeasure systems running on it, 2 engines again. That's okay as well. Just cancel that one. If you look at the patrol escort, this will be a fast ship. This may be very, very useful, but it will probably also then suffer a little bit of damage. Let's have a look and see what it's got. So this has actually got 3 engines on it, so it's a quick unit. Again, a medium railgun at the front with a point defense. So this is actually a better version of that first ship that we looked at. So let's not bother with the initial escorts. Let's go to patrol escorts instead. Because their overall speed, if we have a look through here, this one cruises at 76. The other ship, if we go back and have another look at this one, the just the basic escort, the Prefectus, and edit that one and scroll down, it cruises at 60. So 60 is actually still not bad, to be honest, in the game. Like if it's sort of under 50, it's going to be, it may be too slow to sort of really do much in fights. So anyway, 60 is not bad, but we might as well go for the bigger patrol escort, which is actually faster anyway. So we'll just go and go, instead of using that one, we will go straight through to the patrol escort. And then we've got the heavy escort. That's the only other one that we have, the battle axe. Let's just go, and these will be different names, by the way, so don't rely on these names. We're looking at heavy escort, the hull type. We'll just go and edit this one, and we can then sort of see that this one has got a rail gun. It's got the same sort of deal, actually. So why would we go with this one above the patrol escort? I don't think we would. This one doesn't have anything really going for it. It does actually have a the Sentinel multi-beam in the middle up through there as well. There's not really, like, have a look through to see if there's anything there, but in essence, this one travels slowly. So really the best design we have out of all of those is our patrol escort, and so that's what we'll make use of. So we'll go that way, and in fact I quite like just the patrol escort to take on the pirates. It's zippy. We have another quick look at this one and see what it's got. It does have the countermeasures, which means it's got a bit of survivability. It's got extra speed and manoeuvring anyway, so that sort of helps it, so it can sort of move very, very quickly. A little fleet of these guys would actually be able to take out a pirate ship, but we can't just send it one against one. It's going to have to be multiple ships, and we have to have enough hitting power to actually damage it enough so that we actually stop it from leaving the system. That's going to be the big problem. So I think we're not going to get away with 4. I think we're going to need 5 or 6 in a fleet. But we could start with 4, and if we need more, we can actually add more in. So this will be the guy, just based on what we can sort of see there with the speed. It's no different really than on a superficial sense than the heavy escort. The heavy escort has got a bigger capacity for something bigger in the middle there, but it's still just using a point defense. So the actual outcome is the same in this instance. Now, depending on what faction you're playing and how the AI has designed the ships for you, there may be other considerations. But on a very, very superficial look, the patrol escort is by far our best design. Also, if we have a look back at the frigate again, the Senator 2, and have a look at this guy through here, we do actually have a railgun at the front. We do have concussion missiles, which are long range. This one does travel at 52, so it's slow. I think we just stick with the patrol escort, to be honest. So let's just go across, have a look. The patrol escort is the Medusa, and it's going to cost us 5,800. We've got 3,600, so we can start to build this one up. Now, as I say, I'm not going to get into how to make a fleet essentially through automation. I'll do that one later on. I'm not going to go through how to design ships either in this instance. I'm just going to go with with whatever the AI has built for me, and they're usually pretty good. So we'll just go across. We'll come back across into, we've got the, this is actually the Mangrove Moon. We don't want to do that one. We want to go back to where we've got the spaceport. We're going to click on the spaceport. So this is one way to build the ships. I'll show you this way, and I'll also show you another way. So if we go back across to build new ships or bases, again, if we can just go through, we've got we've got the fuel tanker, the troop transport, the frigate. Battle axe is the heavy escort, which we don't want. The patrol escort is the Medusa. So I can just go and click on that one there. I can say, let's say we're going to start with 4. I'll build 2 that way. That's one way to build the ships. And the other way of building them is to go into your construction area through here and click on the last tab, the build orders, and go down, go to the build orders there, and then just scroll down, and then you'll find it's going to have escorts. Click the drop down and choose the patrol escort. And at that point, we can then sort of see that we can, hang on, it's gone off again. Do that again, but the patrol escort, and I'm just going to go and add another couple, and it'll tell me how much it's going to then cost. It wants to build both of them at that spaceport. Now, hopefully it'll stay there. Yeah, so you can see there, I can actually click on here as well to add to the list if I wanted to, or right click to remove it from the list. And if I scroll back out, anywhere that I can build, like if I build, I should be able to build over here as well. So I can build there by left clicking. Actually, I can't, they don't have enough materials. So in this instance, I've got two queued there for 11,000. I'm just going to go build or purchase and done. And so what's actually happening now is that we're going to have at this location 4 of them now queued up to actually go and start. So that's going to be our starting fleet against the pirates. Again, there's much more nuance you can do if you're wanting to. I'm just using the basics of the game to just get established. I want to make sure I've got a presence. Now, when the pirates first start to come in, if they can escape from here, we're going to have to keep on adding ships to this fleet until we get to the point where we can actually do enough damage quickly that will then stop them from jumping out. And so in this instance, we're just going to go across, and with that one selected, we're just going to go across to our military ships. These are now all being constructed. I'm just going to go and click the first one, shift click the bottom ones, they're all selected. I'm then going to go and click on create a new fleet with these ships. And one thing I like to do when I've got the fleet there, like if you don't have it selected, just press the F key, it'll then bring up the fleets. And every time you press F, it'll then cycle through if you've got multiple fleets. With that one selected, I'm just going to go Control 1 because this is our first fleet. And so hotkey 1 has been set to the first fleet. And so when that gets constructed, it'll take a fair bit of time, but when that does get constructed, we'll then be able to at least test it when the pirates do come. And so the pirates are a big concern for us when we play in this phase of the game because we're already established. And so I'm just going to, again, allow this to come. This is now going to start to become annoying at different parts in the game. By all means, leave the policies turned on. There we go. We've now built our first, so it's asking us now to build this one. Now, as far as what the game is asking, again, if you want to just play simply, just allow it to build whatever it wants. I tend to allow it to build small construction ships, but then when it starts to ask for specific military ships, I stop it from doing that. So I'm just going to build that ship. That's not a problem. The first escort has now been completed. The money is still actually good. Our explorers are now sort of going off and doing their own thing. Look, people play this game all sorts of different ways. Some people play it where they actually will start to build lots and lots of survey ships to see what's around. That's a viable strategy as well. Here we go, construction ships and tanker. I'll build that one. But there'll come to a point where I'll get sick of it. New escort is completed. And when I get sick of it, what I'm going to do is I'll do it now, actually, just so that I can just go through what I end up doing. As soon as it starts to just become a bit of a mind-numbing exercise, I click on the Empire at the front there, go to Policies at the back here. Just go into the first tab is enough. There is another one as well if you wanted to sort of come back and do it. But if we just go, I think it's under construction. It is actually, but we'll just go into the advisors. Now, the thing that's going to get annoying is it's going to keep on asking me about the ship construction. If you want the AI to manage it for you and you don't want to be interrupted by it, just click on automated, but you're going to end up with a lot of military ships that you probably don't really need. So I tend to make that one manual, but I've then got to remember to keep on getting construction ships. So this is too early to do the manual just yet. I tend to like watching what it's advising me to build over time and then turning it off. And then for the base construction, I don't want it to tell me every single time it finds a location where we can, for example, need to build a mining station or anything like that. So I'm just going to tell it to automate the bases. I'm happy for it to do its own thing with the bases. So they're the two that I changed. So now when we look at the defaults, the differences in the defaults is we now have got manual in there when it's time. Don't do it initially. Automated bases in there again when it's time, just when you start getting sick of the suggestions, and then down the bottom here again, just all of the fleet stuff is now still under our control. So that's the only difference between what we were doing and the defaults that we actually have turned on. So let's just go back in and just wait until we get a pirate. Here we go, right on cue. Now, what to do with pirates? So how do you manage them? I will be doing an in-depth look at the pirates. The rule of thumb I have is is if they're naturally hostile towards us, don't give them any money. Sometimes, if there's something really critical that you control, that you feel that you need, then yes, do it. One of the other things that's very hard is to figure out whether it's worth actually doing it with them as well. Some of them will be quite powerful, and other ones won't be very powerful. Generally, if the first pirate that comes in is a human, like if I'm playing as a human and it's a human pirate that comes in, it means they're going to become friendly very quickly. In which case, the first one I tend to then pay the money to. The second ones after that I don't pay any money. I tend to only pay it once and just keep it going one time. But again, I'll do an actual episode on pirates. But initially, we're trying to get to the point where we can sort of dominate or push these people back. So we're going to reject this deal. We're just going to go to that one through there and say goodbye. So we don't know how strong they are here. Eventually we will, but we just don't know. Now, the fact that we've come in contact with them means that we've actually met them somewhere in space. And so if I just scroll back, I'll just pause this for a second. I think if I scroll back and click on this one here, actually it's not showing us where we met them. But this is, like we can see their Deadly Storm League has actually been designated. That is actually where we are. So it looks like we've actually come in at this location with a survey ship. So you see how much the survey ships are just running rampant when we start at tech level 1. At tech level 0, they've got to send away teams in all the time. But by tech level 1, they've actually got a different way of doing the surveying. And so they do 2 bounces with the survey. And I'll show you that in just a second. But they've actually now found the actual base of the ship. This has got a very high strength, which means we're not going to be able to take this on for quite some period of time. So we're going to need a big fleet of ships to take this one on. Now, again, a rule of thumb, if you're trying to take on the pirate bases, if it's sort of like 5 or 6 ships to kill a ship, you're probably going to need like 4 or 5 times as many of that to then kill a base. So we're going to need maybe about 20 ships of the sorts of class that we've got to be able to take this thing out. So it's it means you've got to put a big investment in to actually take these things out. So I'll just dismiss that one for now. They did offer us for just to decline that one. So we're going to wait for them to invade us or to start to raid us. So we don't know where they're going to be. Initially, what I want to do is protect my fleet that I'm building. I don't want them in combat until we're ready, which means having all of the ships built. And eventually what I'll probably do is actually build, if this one works and we can kill off a ship with this particular fleet, then we'll go after other fleets as well. I'll just unpause the game. And by the way, if you're trying to figure out are the pirates in my system yet, just go out to the system view like this, and you'll see any pirate ships will appear down in here, and nothing is appearing. So we haven't seen anything in here just yet. Let's just wait till these other ships are built. And we don't know if we need 4, 5 or 6 of these escorts to be able to then take down any of the other ships just yet. I suspect that 4 is not going to be enough. I'll dismiss that one. New escort completed, so we've now got 3. If I press the number 1 key again, I can sort of see I've still got 1 more to be built. Now, even when we first build them, it's still not really viable. If we have a bit of a look and click on this one here, for example, this one still has to wait for the shielding to come up before we're really ready to use it. So that one is only just started. This one is still only halfway through. And this one is almost completely got the shields up. So until those shields are up, and you can only really tell that by clicking on them, it's not really worth sending them into combat. So let's just keep that one back. These here are just sort of working away, doing different bits and pieces. Now, actually, let's talk a little bit. There we go. We've got the Kintara 7 mining station. If we just go to show me, we're coming in with a lot of pirate ships, 5 pirate ships. Our objective will be to take out one of them when we come up against them. Now, this is going to be something that we can't really deal with. We do actually have, our fleet is not ready yet. So we're just going to have to let them sort of raid this particular location. This is our Caslon supply. And so they're coming in to actually raid that with 5 ships. We can, if we wanted to, have a bit of a look to see what's on side on these particular ships. We can see these have got deflection field generators, which is the same level as us, I think. Heavy armor is beyond what we've got. They've got Maxos blasters and Sentinel multi-beam defenses. These are heavy escorts. That one's a heavy escort as well. Heavy escort, heavy escort. These are going to outclass us. And this one over through here is a fleet frigate. So this is actually a bigger design. It's got heavy rail guns, which is well beyond the capability that we've actually got, and concussion missiles. And again, a lot of protection. This one here would be very, very hard for us to kill. So initially we'd be wanting to go after those escorts, see if we can actually bring down one of them. And remember, it's only one we want to be able to get. Now, if it escapes before we can kill one of them, we just keep on adding ships to our fleet. If we start losing ships to them, we keep on adding ships to our fleet as well, until we get to a balance where we know that we can take on one ship. We don't want to be taking on big fleets like this. So this is something we're just going to have to let the pirates do what they do. What they will do is they will come in, they will actually strip this one apart, put the pirates on board. So they're now actually assaulting this particular location. They're now going to go off and find other targets. This thing will still be operational, but when these guys are finished, they will then do what they have to do as far as sort of taking loot from that particular location, which again we'd like to stop, but if we can't stop it, we just can't stop it. The Stone Temple of Curticia, actually we'll just investigate. I won't worry too much about what these things do, because anything of these could actually happen. So exploration ship is now under attack by Gravelex. That's okay. Base raided, and so they actually raided this base. Often the first time they raid, they won't actually find any loot, but then the second time they'll start to pick up stuff. So we'll dismiss that one. New escort is now completed. We've now got our fleet is now ready, but not ready because we don't actually have the shielding up on all those ships. Now we've got Kintara 7 mining station is under attack. So this is the same one. That's the same one. Now our guys have automatically gone out because I didn't actually give them orders, but in this case they are going off. I mean, again, we've got some that just aren't really ready. We do actually have this one here is going off to attack something as well. Let's just go after this one here. So we'll just go and attack that particular ship. Now it's going to zip off before we can get to it. So we just want to see if is it jumping yet. No, it's not. Our ships are coming in. It's actually now stopping. So can we take this one down? And it looks like we can. The hyperdrive has now gone offline. 4 ships is good enough. So we can do what we need to do with the 4 ships. That's a successful operation with that little fleet of ships. So we know that we can take down their escorts. That's one less pirate ship we have to now worry about. So and there is actually loot, and so it is worth having a bit of a look around to see can we actually grab any of this while we're here. You don't have to do this, but if you can, you do want to just go and right click and pick up the containers. And it's not just a single right click, by the way, it's a long right click on the materials here. So long right click, pick up the hull plating, long right click, pick on that as well. And hopefully we'll actually end up having, and look, did I do that one correctly? Yeah, pick up hull plating. I don't think there's anything else we can see there. I think that's it. So anyway, we've got discoveries back in through that side. And hopefully what we find is that we end up with getting some tech. So we'll just grab all those. If it happens that quickly, then nothing's going to actually happen. Here we go. We've now got another force of pirates that have come back in. So you do end up, when you play on this higher tech level, you're going to find the pirates coming pretty thick and fast. So we'll just dismiss this one. They're going to ask us to pay money. Again, if we have a look back at these, we can now see that the Deadly Storm has got a known military strength of 347, which is fairly high. That means we're going to have to kill a lot of their ships. The Boscara force we know is 67 at this point in time, but they're actually saying, do you want to pay the 125? Again, they're never going to be friendly with us, so decline. And so even though it's going to mean that we end up with more pain initially, it's worth trying to protect this little fleet. And so this is now going after, who's this one? This is actually the Boscara force. And so this guy here is coming in. This is a heavy escort again. This one has got plasma blasters, which are a different sort of beam weapon. Heavy armor, Corvidian shields, which is better than the shields that we saw on the other ship. But again, initially we want to be sort of stopping the pirates as much as we can with these little fleets. This fleet was good against the other guys. Will it be getting good against this one? We don't know. Let's have a look and see what's it going to go after. It's jumping. Just get rid of all this stuff. Sorry about this. There's too much stuff going. So this particular fleet is protecting everything in the system. You may not want that to be the case, and often I don't. So I'll just go through one other little trick that I do is when I've got the fleet selected like this, either pressing F, or in this case I've already made it into a control group number 1. With the fleet selected, you can then go into set the tactics for the fleet, and one thing you may want to do is to change the fleet engagement range down to nearby or same location. I think I'll just click on same location, and then what I can then do is just sort of move this thing away, and it shouldn't really run after the others. It may still do it, but let's just go back to this system over here and just go back to in this case we'll just go back to move to the spaceport, and that should stay around there. It may still go off and do its own thing a little bit, but let's just wait and sort of see what actually happens. Again, if we sort of scroll out, there's nothing else left in this system. Just move in, and that way at least we can then control where it goes. Now we've got a fair bit of money. Let's go and build another one of these little fleets. So 4 ships per fleet is looking pretty good. We could put 5 in just to be safe if we wanted to, but this is, as I say, is looking fairly nice. Now, I won't go through the complicated way of actually using fleets. So it's not just complicated, but it's actually a really, really good way to manage it. I'll be doing that in a dedicated video about fleet management. So I'll just go through the simple way. So let's just go back across again into our spaceport, back in through this side, click on the spaceport, go to build new ships, and we want to go again. We sort of worked out that the patrol escort was the way we want to go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll just go and click on 4 of those. Click on our military ships. We've now got a few extras in here, but the new ones that we're building are these in through this side. So we'll just go and shift click those, select them, create a new fleet. This is now the second fleet. With that selected, or pressing F until you sort of scroll through and get it again, Control 2. It's now control group number 2, and that will then build up. And so then we'll have 2 fleets in this system that we can then start to do things with. And slowly we'll be able to start to protect the system. Anyway, that's sort of how we... I think that's sort of like I'll finish it off here, but that's the pirates become a much bigger consideration for you when you do actually hit, when you start with tech level 1, and you do need to build up your fleets. I would tend to micromanage that aspect myself, but you don't have to. So I've sort of shown you here how we're just using AI designed ships. We've just got enough of them to take down individual ships. That's the key. And if it's too much for us, we're not going to put our ships into danger, because the pirates can take over our ships, and we don't want that. So what we want to do is we want to conserve our ships. Our ships are more important than our bases. They're actually pretty much more important at this early stage than the resources that we have on our planets, which they'll raid, and the money that we have. So it's better for us to make sure that our ships don't get targeted. If we're starting to get low on shielding, it means that they can be then boarded, and we don't want that at all. Anyway, I'll leave that there. I hope that is helpful. I'll catch you in the next episode.